Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
I see Mandy's been busy in the side chat.
You've got a super chat.
I have, but first I got a membership milestone chat and all.
You did.
I love the fact that she wasn't actually here when she posted that. Yeah.
No, I did it through my mind. I'm here, but I wasn't really here, and I might have been a cat.
You weren't in the backstage anyway. Well, thank you, Miss Mandy.
You're welcome.
7 for the $2 super chat. Here is a super chat. Now shut up, lol.
Because you're not complaining about not getting super chats or anything. What was that? Oh. Okay. Yep. Hey, Swarsha. Hey, Nightwolf. Hey, Amanda.
I'm sorry. I thought, I was just doing what the super chat said. Hey, Sorsha. Hey, Mando. Hey, Nightwolf. Hey, Lady Bass Guitar Player. Abby Pollen. Hey. Cecile.
It's so sweet.
Cecile was having fun driving his truck today.
His big blue truck.
Epiphanies. I love watching the truck. It's very therapeutic. Yeah. Rajara was here. She's taking the dog out, apparently.
Thank you, Cecile.
Cecile, you are awesome, my friend. Thank you very much for $10 super sticker. I've got no idea what the super sticker is. I'll have to actually look on there.
It's a little dancing dog.
Hey, Sally. All right. Okay, so we've got part 2 today. Welcome to episode 2 of Mark and Mandy Discuss.
Digging back into 8 passengers. Apparently, there's been an update in the dad is speaking out, which we had no information on him last time.
Yeah, he's been speaking to certainly some. I don't know what the mail is like in the US, whether it's the same as our because we have a mail here as well. I don't know whether it's
Actually, it was the Daily Mail he spoke to in the UK.
Yeah,
and he also gave his lawyer gave an interview too. Awesome. Should we look at the Daily Mail's take first, or you want to hear the lawyer's interview first?
I don't mind. We can do either or.
Okay. Well, let's look at the Daily Mail's thing first, because it's a. Here, I'm sure.
I need to open up my. Give me 2 seconds. I'm sorry. I'm teching. Sure. I'm not teching very well.
Then we know it'll take longer than two seconds because Mark's teching. Okay, you make fun of my teching all the time. I'm going to make fun of yours.
I do.
Oh, Sorsha, I can't spoil it for you.
What do I want to do? I want to do that. No, I don't want to do all that.
You're like me, you got to talk through it.
Right, I've got to. Hopefully, this will work. Right.
Oh my gosh, this is the wrong.
There we go. We can have five more green people. Sally, Abby,
hey, Mark, give away 5 memberships.
Lisa, and Judy. Welcome to the
Congrats,
store. All right, let's have a look here. Yes, Mark does tech. It's dodgy tech, but it's
This is the.
I can update my members intro now. Brilliant.
This is here we go. All right. So Ruby Frank's husband Kevin says he's seen her just 4 times since they split last year.
Yeah, you'll need to sort of zoom in a bit so that we can read along with you.
Is it small?
It's very small.
Okay, sorry.
Hold down the control
All right.
button and
Yeah.
scroll with the scroll wheel.
Yeah. Better?
Yeah,
Better?
it's a bit better.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I can
That's fine.
scroll in a little bit more. Okay. Ruby Frank's
Oh, yeah.
husband, Kevin, says he's seen her just 4 times since they split last year after their marriage counselor, Jody, marriage counselor, Hildebrandt, got involved in their lives, says he is shocked by child abuse allegations. So he's surprised by this,
Okay.
supposedly. YouTube mom, Ruby Frank's estranged husband, says he's only seen the alleged abuser 4 times since their marital split last year. Ruby, 41, who gained a notoriety for her parenting channel, 8 Passengers, was arrested along with business partner Jody Hildebrandt, 54, on August 30th. Both women were charged with 6 counts of felony child abuse. Her estranged partner, Kevin, has now claimed he only learned of his family's whereabouts when his wife was arrested. So he's saying he didn't know where they were. And 2 youngest kids, 10-year-old Eve and 12-year-old Russell, were in the hospital. Police allege the couple's son, Russell, was held to the ground with ropes while the women rubbed cayenne pepper and honey into his wounds.
Wait, they did what?
Yep, you heard me right. Police alleged that the couple's son, Russell, was held to the ground with ropes while the women rubbed cayenne pepper and honey into his wounds. Yep.
Subir puts it perfectly.
Yep.
Hey, conspiracy.
He escaped through a window and ran to get help before the pair were arrested. In the weeks following, videos circulated where Ruby gleefully spoke about forcing her son to sleep on a beanbag as punishment for refusing to bring her daughter a school lunch after she forgot to pack it herself. Kevin, 44, heard infrequently from his wife after Jody, then their marriage counselor, came into their lives and was shocked by the circumstances surrounding her arrest. Yeah. Kevin was shocked. Kevin's lawyer, Randy Kessler, told People it was at that point that he realized how deceived he had been. Here's a video. Let's watch this.
Yeah, I think they just that's them leaving court.
Breast cancer is now the most common.
I thought this was a video about him coming out.
Yeah, no, it's just them walking out of the courthouse. I've seen videos where the one child talks about having to sleep on a beanbag.
I saw that too.
Got a copy of that video. We can watch that. Also, there's one of what the heck was the other one? Oh, I've actually got it in my notebook. Why am I not looking at that? Oh yeah, and bragging about her kid, her daughter, not having a school lunch.
Same year, Jody founded Connections, a program promising to help you flourish in your relationships. So she created this whole program. I read into Connections a little bit.
By rubbing pepper into wounds. I mean, that's...
The website reads, transform your pain into joy. Choose the life you want to have and exchange your confusion for clarity. Is that what they were doing with their children?
Well, they were... they got as far as the pain part.
Yeah, exactly. And offers one-on-one sessions priced at $181 each. A year later, following a trip with Jody and another counselor, Ruby told Kevin that his attitude was infesting the family. Kester said that the only way for them to save their marriage was to separate, which makes no sense. The only way
Oh,
for
yeah,
us to
I
split
think
is for us to go apart.
I think it is in this article later on. I don't mean to give spoilers away, but
No, it's fine.
The program of recovery is, for a relationship to survive and thrive, it first has to be destroyed and then recreated.
Yeah.
Which is ludicrous.
That's the dumbest thing ever. Kevin moved out in July 2022 while continuing to attend weekly sessions with Jody. He lived in a townhouse near the family home, and a counselor from Connections stayed with him and supervised him. What? Really? Their son Chad moved out with him, but Jody ordered him. Yeah.
They move in with them and literally control every aspect of their life. That's not a therapist. That's a narcissistic abuser.
Yeah. But Jody ordered them to separate, claiming they were enabling one another. Jody commanded that Kevin cut off communication with most people and only talk to Ruby if she reached out. In the year that followed, Ruby was only allowed to contact Kevin 3 or 4 times in a year. Social workers investigated the couple in June 2020 when concern was raised over troubling YouTube videos, but Utah's Division of Child and Family Services couldn't substantiate the abuse allegations. As Ruby traveled back and forth between Springsville and staying with Jody in Vision, where they were later arrested, social workers and police visited several times in response to calls from a neighbor and the Franks' estranged daughter, Shari. Ruby and Jody are being held without bail, thank God, at Washington County Purgatory. I like the name of that correctional facility. Neither have entered a plea. Kevin has been questioned by police and has not been charged, his lawyers say.
It's interesting that Abby actually brings up the point that it sounds like a cult or Scientology.
It does.
I think actually the father. I read somewhere earlier that the father actually said that's exactly what it was. It's a cult.
And I have a
Hey, P. Barnes.
Good to see you, P. Barnes. Video from Law and Crime, the interview from the lawyer. But anyway, do you want me to finish reading this, or you want me to? It kind of just
carry on with this.
Okay. Last month, Ruby's sister-in-law, Jennifer Frank, told Daily Mail that many family members were suspicious of Ruby's business partner, which, from what I understand, Ruby really started to change when she became mixed up with Jody Hildebrandt. Jennifer said, a lot of the family is starting to believe that Ruby and Jody may have more than a professional relationship. Well, really?
Yeah, I would second that.
Which that comes out to be the case. Yeah, that turned out to be the case. They turned out, others we found out. Before their arrest, both women were criticized for their parenting advice as they collaborated on Connections. Jennifer said the family heard that Jody moved into the Franks family home between 2021 and 2022. It was a cult, she said, which when they were arrested, they were in the same room. So Kevin was in a men's group at Connections. He had a checklist of what he needed to do better. If you did, they would praise you. If you didn't, they would chastise you. She revealed that one of the first things Jody did when she moved into the family home was separate the couple. Ruby was living on one side of the house and Kevin was living on the other. Kevin couldn't talk to Ruby unless Jody was present. Which, what? I bet somebody's going to tell me when I can talk to my husband when I can't. And you're going to be there. I don't think so. 20-year-old Shari, the oldest Frank child, told Jennifer that she wasn't permitted to speak to her father. She wasn't permitted to speak to her father.
Judy, you're green now.
Hey. Sherry told us that Kevin was kicked out last July 2022. At the time, we never knew about Jody and the influence she would have on the family. Shari explained that Kevin wouldn't take phone calls or answer emails that Ruby and Jody had Kevin believing that he is a bad person. Jennifer said Shari had told or tried contacting her father after he moved out, but he blocked everyone on social media, his cell phone and email. I feel bad for Kevin. He's like almost brainwashed. I feel sorry for him. After Ruby's arrest, Jennifer's husband phoned Kevin and offered support. Gaslighting is real. This is messed up, Kevin responded. We just talked about that, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
About gaslighting?
Yeah.
About somebody else gaslighting someone. And gaslighting is a real serious thing, and it's a form of bullying and harassment. In some ways, I think Kevin is, to an extent, is also a victim. He was always the more nurturing one in the relationship, Jennifer said. I always ask myself, why didn't Kevin go back for his children? I believe none of us knew the entire story, and that's everything. If this is true, then Kevin didn't know what was going on. If he was kept separate from his children, and I was one of the first ones to dog Kevin and to go after him and say, oh, he didn't know what was going on with his children. Bull crap, he knew. But if all this is true, then he didn't. If he was kept separate from them like that. But I'm very interested to hear what the lawyer has to say.
I mean, this is the sort of stereotypical pattern of abuse, with the, I'm not even going to say therapist or counselor, but with the other thing coming in, and it's just what they've done to these children. I mean, I work with people with personality disorders and mental health problems, and 99.9% of those people grew up in households like this where they were abused, and it's just you're screwing up your children's lives for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
All for what? For a bit of a fling with your therapist and a bit of YouTube fame.
Right.
I mean, I'm curious if this is sort of systemic of what's going on in with channels like theirs.
I'm really suspicious of these family channels anyway.
Yeah.
You're forcing your children to do something pretty much against their will.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of these family channels.
No, not me. Okay, shall we look at the law and crime video?
Case, I found that as my kids got older and older and older, wherever you live, there's this.
Oh, thank you, P. Barnes. I'll let her know. In fact, she might even be watching.
Myself constantly in comparison with other parents.
The attorney for Ruby Frankie's husband, Kevin, comes on to explain his client's current situation.
Sorry. I had it. I have it sped up so I could watch it earlier. Sorry. My bad.
In my case, I found.
Hey, Maddie.
Hey, Maddie.
My kids got older and older and older. Wherever you live, there's this community, this network of parents, and I found myself constantly in comparison with other parents.
The attorney for Ruby Frankie's husband, Kevin, comes on to explain his client's current situation, whether he played any role in the alleged abuse of their children, and when he spoke to Ruby Frankie right before her arrest. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. So we're continuing our coverage of the Ruby Frankie case, the 41-year-old Utah mother of 6 who rose to online fame when she and her husband Kevin...
I'm not sure I'd call her a mother, but...
Her face makes me sick. I'm sorry. Her fake...
It's interesting you should mention that because, like I said before, I watched a video where... I can't remember the young lad's name, but the one who was forced to sleep on a beanbag.
Yeah.
She was laughing while he was recounting the story.
The
sat
mother
there
was?
smiling. Yeah, and then she turns around to him after that and says, "What, you think this is funny? Maybe you haven't learned your lesson. Maybe you should, be without a bed even longer."
She was laughing while he was recounting it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring the video up after this and we can.
Oh my God. Okay.
But yeah.
YouTube channel called 8 Passengers. It documented their lives, their parenting style, homeschooling. Well, now Ruby Franke, along
Look at
with
them
her
sitting
business
all
partner
chummy
and
together.
content
They're
collaborator
chummy.
Jody Hildebrand, have each been charged with
Oh,
6
I like that
felony
picture
counts of
better.
aggravated child abuse. Police were alerted after Franke's 12-year-old son escaped Hildebrand's residence, ran to a neighbor asking for food and water. He was found emaciated with deep lacerations, duct tape on his extremities. This is really horrible stuff. But then it was compounded by the fact that when police arrived, they also found Franke's 10-year-old daughter in similar condition. Horrible story. But there is one person in this story that people are talking a lot about, and that is Kevin Franke. Now, while Ruby's husband has not been criminally charged by authorities, his role has taken center stage. It's got a lot of people talking. Well, joining me right now to unpack that is Kevin Franke's attorney, Randy Kester. Randy, thanks so much for coming here on Sidebar.
You're welcome.
I think the best place to start is, how's your client doing right now?
He's busy. He's struggling, trying to make sense out of what's happened to him in the last 13 months.
Make sense out of what happened to him?
Kind of coming out of a fog.
So in other words, he was completely taken off guard by these allegations, completely shocked?
Absolutely shocked.
Where was he when he found out about this?
He was at work.
And how did he find out? He found out on the news? Did someone call him?
He got a call from Ruby.
He got a call from Ruby Franke?
Correct.
You mean while after she was arrested?
Before.
Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. She had heard what was going on and knew they were coming for her and called him and said, "This is an emergency," even though she hadn't reached out to him for months and months and months before that. She reached out to him when it was an emergency, knowing she could rely on him to help his kids.
So in other words, you're saying she knew the police were coming to arrest her. She calls Kevin to say, take care of the kids. How did she know the police were coming? Because again, the reporting indicates is that her son had escaped that house and called and went to a neighbor.
Okay. So that house looks like a prison, first of all. It's a beautiful home, but it looks like...
And that's when the authorities were alerted to the police were coming to arrest her. She calls Kevin to say, take care of the kids. How did she know the police were coming? Because again, the reporting indicates is that her son had escaped that house and called and went to a neighbor, and that's when the authorities were alerted. Do you know how she knew they were coming?
I would never want to predict anything.
The lawyer's face is pretty red.
Kevin doesn't know. He doesn't know. I don't know how she knew what was going on.
Over a mile away.
All he knows is
I remember reading that.
A text from her that said, "Emergency, need to speak with you." He was at work and text back and said, "I'm at work. What's up?" And she said, "I need to speak."
Is it right? Okay.
And they spoke on the phone.
Correct.
And that's when she told him.
Well, actually, I think most of it was, they did speak on the phone.
So they spoke on the phone, and when she told
no kind
him
of decoration
or anything
to the house at all, though.
What did he say?
She actually didn't say that. She just said, "You need to get down here."
You need to get down here.
Yeah, the neighbor was a little over a mile away, which I guess if you're 12, that's nothing. But if you have cayenne pepper and honey rubbed into lacerations on your wrists and ankles, that's a
I was going to ask that before. I was going to ask if the child that they tied down was the same one that got out. And
yeah, it was the 12-year-old that had cayenne pepper rubbed in his lacerations. So
I hope they get a very long sentence for this, because they've given their kids, well, her kids in a way, a life sentence.
yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
What did he say about that?
He said, down where? And when she told him that she was in Ivan's, he responded and said, what are you doing in Ivan's? And she then told him that the kids were down there. Some of the kids were down there and he needed to come down. And he said, well, how long have you been in Ivan's? He wasn't even told that she had taken the kids to Ivan's.
Let me unpack that a little bit. So, first of all, their current status, were they separated?
Correct.
They were separated, I read, for 13 months. So they weren't living with each other. How much was he seeing the kids?
Almost not at all. Actually, not at all.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because she told him it was better that they needed to work on their marriage and needed to keep their family together, but that everything was better off with him not in the home.
Yeah, you've got a funny way of showing it.
That makes no sense to me.
You need
Somebody
to keep
make-
your family together by splitting it apart. Yeah.
Let's make our marriage work by you staying over there and me staying over here.
Yeah. I mean, they say that absence makes the heart grow fonder, but no, it doesn't.
No, it really doesn't. I mean, I get you love what you miss, and that's true, but not by splitting it apart if it's already together, not splitting it apart. That's not true. What? No. No.
That woman's philosophy makes no sense.
No.
If you can, why were they separated? What was the catalyst?
I probably shouldn't go into that. That's pretty private.
Mm-hmm.
But
No, it was
they
the
were,
so-called therapist.
They had a
Yeah, it was.
difference of opinion about their family.
Parenting? I know you can't talk about it, but is it that kind of where we're going?
Correct.
Okay. So let me again.
And their own personal dynamic.
Okay. So he was living separate from her. Was he calling the kids? Because I think what a lot of people are looking at this and they're wondering, well, what did he know? So he might have been living separately from her for 13 months, but he wasn't calling the kids, checking in on the kids, seeing how they're doing. He's the father.
I totally understand that. That was the big question on my mind and the big question on a lot of people. If you've read everything that's in the media, he's getting raked over the coals for that. But what people don't understand is that he was trying to preserve his marriage. He was taking direction from her. She's the one who
Not
has
at the
to get
cost
into
of
the
your own
house,
children, though. I mean,
indicating
come on.
that in order for him to
Right.
be able to get back together with her, and
The way
be
it works
family,
is children,
that she
marriage,
was
everything
requesting
else.
that he leave the home and that he not
In
contact
that order.
them or the children. Later told him that everything was blissful at home. It was so much better without him.
Did he ever believe that the kids
That's
were in
bullcrap.
danger? Did he ever believe that Ruby might have been doing something to the kids?
He had nothing to indicate that.
I just don't.
So again, I know you're
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm having a hard time with this.
I disagree with that, because, you know, I mean, if you're only able to see your kids, in like 3 or 4 times in 13 months, that's harming the kids. It might not be physical harm, but it's harm. Parental alienation is a real thing. You know, those kids are going to grow up thinking their father doesn't even want them.
Sue Bear, I don't get it
his
either.
head to think, well, hang on, you know. No, I don't buy that. I'm going to drag him over the coals on that one.
Yeah.
Like the physical stuff, he might not have known about, but as for everything else, yeah, no, he absolutely knew.
Yeah.
Anyone with half a brain cell would know that.
I'm really not getting that he didn't know something was going on physically and just turned a blind eye to it, honestly. Because this was going on longer than 14 months.
Oh yeah, I
Did
mean,
you see?
we've got the family statements, haven't we? Her two sisters.
Yeah.
Is it? They were like, we kept quiet for 3 years for the kids' sake. No, you didn't. You're as culpable as she is.
Yeah.
Right?
I
You
mean,
kept quiet because you didn't want to, rock the boat. Yeah. If you know that a kid is being abused and you don't speak up, you're culpable. Maybe not in the eyes of the law, but certainly in the eyes of everyone else, the whole world.
Yeah, Judy, I agree with you.
Limited in what you can say, but just again piecing that together, if Ruby Frank told Frankie, excuse me, Ruby
exactly,
Frankie
Erica,
told Kevin that it's better off he's not part of the
problem
home.
is Josh doesn't know what it actually is,
and that he lived separately from them, and
but Josh is an idiot, Erica.
He just took that as okay, that sounds like a good idea. Or did she prevent him in any way from seeing the kids? Did he want to see them and talk to them, and she told him no?
Emotionally, she was controlling him because she knew how much he valued their marriage and valued their family, and it was his desire to be able to get
I still
back
call
with the family
BS. When you become a dad,
Yeah.
preserve his marriage. So
you're a dad first, husband second.
Her direction was,
tell you what, my dad, who I call dad, was my stepdad. And when my mom and stepdad separated, he fought to see me, and I was his stepdaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And he fought to see me, and he would have ripped earth apart to see me. And that's a dad. That's a dad. And
I mean, the one thing in the UK, especially, that people don't quite understand is there's so much
get
talk
emotional.
about.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. It lasted longer than the last stream. I think you got emotional.
Sorry. Oh, no. This kid being abused is really.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. In the UK, people talk about parental rights all the time, but there's technically no such thing. You see, here in the UK, the rights of the child are paramount. What that means is that, at least in law, a court will only consider the child's right to have access to the parents, or to anybody else, actually, not just the parents, but to any family member, including a stepfather. I can't imagine that the US courts are much different. I imagine that they're pretty up with that sort of thing. I don't know, but
yeah. But a dad, yes, Sorsha, that's correct. A dad will do, a real dad will do whatever it takes to see their kids and make sure they're safe. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, you can work on your marriage, separately if you want to. That's your right. But you still be a father to your kids. I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
He's using excuses at this point.
Yeah, he really is. He is trying to get out of this because he sees how bad it is. Mm-hmm. I don't buy it.
It's so much better off, and I think we can salvage our marriage if you just, for now, don't have communication.
Yes, Sally, I think they were Mormons.
I will communicate.
Mormons.
Did you hear this? I think we can salvage our marriage if you just don't have communication with your family. Bull crap. I am not buying that.
No.
It's so much better off, and I think we can salvage our marriage if you just, for now, don't have communication with the kids, and I will communicate with you. I'll reach out to you when we need to have communication.
What? How does that sound like a good idea ever?
Opinion, possibly about parenting.
Sounds like the worst idea ever.
Concern to, hey, you know what? Maybe I should check in, because if it seemed like it was a big enough
precisely
to separate.
Yes,
like
Jesse Weber.
To check in on.
Yes.
What am I missing?
What Jesse just said.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Guy doing the interview.
That never gave him a concern to, hey, you know what? Maybe I should check in, because if it seemed like it was a big enough issue for them to separate, it didn't seem like an issue for him to check in on.
Kevin never had any
Yeah.
reason to believe that his children were being abused. If he had even one
No, that's got nothing to
that
do with
his
it.
kids were being
Pause.
abused and that this separation was
That's got nothing to do with it. It's, you know, the lawyer's focusing on the physical abuse, which I get, right? You know, he's kind of, you know, he's got to advocate for his client here. I mean, come on.
Right, and I get that too.
That's completely passing the buck. You know, you're just sort of focusing on the physical aspect. You're not, you know, dealing with all of the emotional trauma that you're going to be causing the kids by keeping them from their father for bloody 13 months. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and
Human being people.
the emotional trauma to the father and the children. I mean, let's be real here. But because he's a person too. So it's abusive to both of them. And even though he is making that decision himself to do it,
There is no way in hell that anybody would ever pull that stunt with me. I'm just going to say that now because no.
Is he so whooped? Why? Why would he make that decision? I just don't I'm trying right now to understand why he would do that.
I mean,
does he just not care?
The only reason that I could think of where that would explain this in any kind of way that would make sense to me is if they did such a good job of abusing him, you know, and gaslighting him and sort of convincing him that, you know, just like cults brainwashing, you know, it happens with adults as well. You know, we're all susceptible to it. But you know, if they did such a good job of convincing him that he was making the right decision, then maybe I could understand it. I can't forgive it, but I could maybe understand it. But, you know, anyone with, you know, anyone in their right mind, should we say, would not be, yeah, sort of thinking, okay, I need to spend 13 months away from my kids because marriage. So no father that no real father that I know would even contemplate the idea. It just wouldn't even enter their heads.
No, absolutely not.
I mean,
I'm just having a hard time grasping it.
My ex-partner, of course, her and her child's father, we're obviously no longer together because, you know, we were together. But you know, he wasn't a good dad, but he still fought to see his kids. And, you know, there were times when, you know, she would say, I'm not going to let him see the kids. I'm like, no, you don't even go there. Right? It's not a good idea. But
well, good for you. That speaks highly of you.
Yeah. But
look at you being a good person and everything, Mark.
I'm not really a good person. I just, you know, I play one during the weekdays. It's fine.
Play one on YouTube. Right.
Wasn't for any other purpose than to figure out a way between he and Ruby to reunite their family. He would have been down there in 2 seconds.
Do they
he just
currently
simply had no idea?
He had no idea. He had no idea that this was going on.
No, physical abuse
exactly,
has never been a part of their family. But a lot of the dynamics between he and his wife changed after
he didn't get none for a year.
Partner
that made it change.
Ruby.
Let's talk about that for a second. First of all, before I get into Jody, do Kevin, your client, and
phrasing,
talking at all while she's in jail?
You yeah, don't put it in. She's no. Just don't go.
Yeah.
The last conversation they had was last Friday. And that's when, during that conversation is when he came to his senses about how he'd been manipulated and deceived.
Are you saying he
And that,
confronted her about these allegations?
to some degree.
To
I
some
don't know the
degree.
entire
There it
context of the
is.
conversation, but his discussion with me was that during that conversation, things were said that made him realize how he'd been deceived and misled. And as I told you earlier, he didn't even know the kids were in Ivan's.
You had just said that he knew that Ruby and Jody were working together.
Correct.
So how was he that shocked if he knew that, they were working together and maybe she had brought the kids with him? I mean, did he not think that perhaps Ruby had taken the kids to Jody's house?
Well, yeah, because where else are they going to be? Are they going to be at home by themselves?
She'd had the kids down there from about late May, I think maybe June, until this all came about. And she didn't tell him one thing about taking the kids to Ivan's.
What does he say about Jody Hildebrandt?
That she's manipulated him in conjunction with Ruby, that she's been kind of the spearhead toward
I'd say so.
destroying his life and destroying his family.
How did Jody and Ruby get connected? Does Kevin know?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Is Kevin believing that perhaps it was Jody who was manipulating Ruby in this? Or because it also sounds like Kevin feels he was manipulated by Ruby. Is it just all the blame on Jody?
I think it was a team effort, but with Jody being the spearhead and creating a situation that's just caused all of this destruction.
No, I think they were just in it equally.
Why does he believe that Jody is manipulative? What makes him believe that?
I probably shouldn't go into that, but we recently reviewed on another website an interview with Jody's niece, who described to the public exactly what she had done, what Jody had done to the niece and her family. And we're hearing other information that she's done this to a number of families. And it wasn't until this all came to light that Kevin came to realize that his family had also been victimized by Jody. Oh, certainly. He's interviewed with them.
I'm sure he has.
And they see him as a potential witness?
They haven't said that. He was interviewed with them the day this all occurred. He drove to St. George to get his children, and they met him and interviewed him.
I guess when people are looking at this and they know this is not an isolated incident, because you and I both know that the Frankies have been under a close eye for quite some time. There were people who suspected that the kids were being abused or were treated too harshly. So even putting aside the arrest of Ruby Franke, your client was receiving criticism for quite some time over the parenting techniques. What is his response been to that?
There hasn't ever been an allegation that Kevin Franke has ever physically abused his children. And I think all these parenting complaints, those were investigated, and I think it's a subjective thing. Parenting, as everybody says, no one's ever written a perfect book on parenting. So while
parenting,
there may be some criticism of their
parenting isn't subjective. Either you're a good parent or you're not a good parent. Why is parenting subjective?
Yes. Nobody ever wrote the book on it, but
right.
There are some basic principles that you can apply, that everybody should apply, and they completely fail to do it.
One, show up. Be there.
Yeah.
You have to be there in order to feed your kids, take care of your kids, wash your kids, clothe your kids. And guess what wasn't being done? Your kids weren't being fed. They weren't being washed. They weren't being taken care of and put in their beds properly. Some of them weren't being put in beds at all.
Yeah. Some of them didn't have beds.
Oh my gosh. This puts me in a place.
Yeah, Maddie just brought up a good point. If she was a licensed therapist, whatever registration board she was with, you have to question their ability to keep an eye on the therapist's careers. Exactly. In fact, she had her license suspended one time because a gentleman complained, and they let her back after that. As far as I'm concerned, they should have been keeping a very damn close eye on her, because I think from what little I've read on it, she pretty much tried the same thing with this other guy that she was trying with him, with the father here. But it's ridiculous. It really is.
Absolutely is.
Parenting as being too strict or too demanding. That's been looked into, and there were never any DCFS charges filed. There was never any criminal charges filed, and particularly, and I want to emphasize this, Kevin Franke has never been accused of physically abusing anyone, including his children.
There's more than physical abuse.
He doesn't condone that kind of thing.
He might not have physically abused them, but he damn well
right. There is emotional abuse going on here and neglect going on here.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what's going on. He literally neglected his own child, or his own children. Sorry.
No, you're fine. There are 6 children that were neglected here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He absolutely should be at least facing some charges. I mean, maybe not as severe as the charges that the other two are facing, but I would certainly be considering charges if I was a prosecutor. Not going to lie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He just simply does not condone physical
He's
violence.
there, Zeus.
Or that kind of treatment of children or anyone.
And he's right now in touch with all of the kids.
That's all being sort of managed by the juvenile.
So no.
Do they want to see him?
I can't tell you. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, aren't you a good lawyer?
With his 2 older children, but as to the 4 younger ones, I even if I knew, I kind of made an agreement with the court that we wouldn't talk about.
So you don't know.
What about the older children? What has been the conversations between them and Kevin?
Well, they're kind of on their own, but they've had contact, but I'm not at liberty to disclose those conversations.
I mentioned the criticism that the Frankies were facing. The YouTube channel that they had was shut down. Did Kevin ever explain to you why that happened?
No, I have no understanding as to why that was taken down. I know after these incidents at Ivan's, I believe that a lot of their material was taken down by the platform, but I haven't spoken to Kevin about that. I have no understanding as to what's going on with that right now.
The money that they made off of the show, I think Ruby had claimed at one point they were making a significant amount of money. Has Kevin ever spoken to you about that, about how profitable that show was?
Kevin was simply giving his earnings to Ruby that were going to support the family.
There it is.
He gained sufficient amount.
He was scared to divorce her because of money. I bet you. And I don't know that for a fact. That's just my opinion.
It's possible, but I mean, yes, it's right that he should be providing financially for his children, but that money wasn't getting to the children, or at least the vast majority of it seemingly wasn't. So, he should have been making damn sure that it was.
Yep.
Even if he buys meals and takes them to the school and say, "Well, here you go, make sure my kids eat." Whatever he has to do.
That's some money.
Exactly which wasn't being done, and if it wasn't being done, it was his responsibility to do it, which he wasn't doing.
To take care of himself while they were separated, but all the rest of that money was going to Ruby to support the kids.
I don't know, Sally.
He hasn't spoken to me about what amount of money was ever generated by that. He actually pardon the phrase, but he actually disconnected from any involvement with Connections a year and a half ago,
Oh,
and hasn't had anything to do with a past.
so Kevin Frankie's job was an assistant professor in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering at Brigham Young University. So he was a teacher.
Oh, Lord.
At Brigham Young University. And was for 15 years. Worked there for a long time.
Then he should have damn well known better.
Yep.
There's a phrase that teachers use. It's called it's not called. It's in loco parentis. That means in place of the parent. And essentially, while a child is in a school environment, you are their parents as a teacher. Everything that a parent is responsible for, you are responsible for. Making sure they're safe, making sure they're fed, making sure their well-being is taken care of, making sure that they're not being abused or bullied or put in any danger. All of those parental responsibilities go to you.
Yep, absolutely.
And
he got fired.
That's another thing I don't get with the teachers in this case either. Somebody should have been picking up on this. This is not. This hasn't just been done behind closed doors. This is as public as you can get. I mean, they had how many millions of subscribers, and no one thought to, actually look into any of this.
Well, apparently there was a document that went around that had, I just found this today, that went around that had 400,000 signatures on it that was sent over to Child Protective Services, and they did nothing.
Oh, for the love of God.
And they did nothing with it.
Yeah, I think more charges need to be brought.
Yeah, and they didn't do anything. Yep.
Just for even longer than that.
I'm sure you know that there was a hearing last week where Ruby Franke, and I believe it was over Zoom, she made quite the allegations. She said that one of her children was abusing another one of the children, was abusing cousins and neighbors. That is quite the claim. What is your client's take on that?
She did for a little bit, Erica, and then she
because it
homeschooled.
occurred during juvenile court proceedings. The reporter who snuck into the proceedings reported that damaged these children and this family even more. It was despicable.
No. Whoa.
And
wait, what? The reporter damaged the family more than.
Yeah. Picked
No.
up on that, huh?
BS. Absolute BS. The reporter is probably the one person who did the least amount of damage in this entire case.
Yeah, but he's having to pass the ball, right? It's he is must be being paid a lot of money because he is trying very, very hard here.
I hope he's being paid a lot of money. I mean, I don't think there's.
Ooh, he is trying so hard. Woo!
occurred during
Being a good lawyer,
proceedings. The reporter who snuck into the proceedings reported that damaged these children and this family even more. It was despicable what they did in reporting that, and but because again, I have an agreement with the court that I won't speak about the children, and particularly won't speak about proceedings that occurred in the confines, the sanctified confines of that juvenile court. I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay. And Kevin, what are his?
I'm not going to comment on that because it would be really damaging to my case.
He's consulting with professionals. He's we're working in conjunction with the state of Utah through the juvenile court to work with them, to take direction from them about what they feel would be necessary to heal his family and try to figure out a way, if possible, to reunify the family.
Has the rest of the family, the older siblings, have they agreed that Kevin would be the best person to take care of the minor children?
You know what? I can't speak to that. They've had private conversations with their dad, and I'm just not at liberty to speak about that. I don't want to disturb those private conversations between he and his kids.
Does Kevin plan to attend the rest of this criminal process for Jody and Ruby, the hearings, potential trial?
Well, the hearings are taking place down in Washington County, down in St. George, which is about a 2.5-hour drive from where Kevin lives. And so most of those he's probably not going to attend. If they require him to attend, he'll go.
I would.
But my
They
guess
should
is
require
he
him to
probably
attend.
isn't interested in attending those.
Yeah,
He should be made to see exactly. He should be made to see exactly what his family's been through.
Yeah, he should have to be there. Absolutely, he should have to be there. I want to point out something that Erica's saying in the chat. That she went through this with CPS for one of her, let's just say, children for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And they called her intense. That's what a mother is. A mother is intense over her children.
Yeah.
That's what a parent is.
Damn well fight.
A parent is intense over her children. And Erica, you're a good mother. You're intense.
Mm-hmm.
You better damn well believe I'm intense over my son. My son is an asshole. But I am intense over him, and I would fight and die for him today. Because I love him and he's my kid. And, that's what you do, It's what you do. Anyway.
And that's what he should have done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he did.
They look a lot different in this picture, don't they? Than they did on that yacht where they were snuggled up to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what you get for abusing your kids.
Plan to cooperate, or is this a situation where he may decide to plead the fifth and protect his rights?
Well, thus far he hasn't been accused of any crimes, and in my view, I don't think he's committed any crimes. So
he still might want to plead the fifth in some cases.
Through the juvenile court, which
you don't actually have to be accused of a crime to do that.
Discussion,
right.
He simply alleged that he hasn't committed any crimes, and I don't believe they believe that he has.
I know, Erica.
The police haven't contacted me. No one's contacted me about him being charged with any crimes. But the system is what it is. We don't know what's upcoming, so we're having to be circumspect about
what we say
and what we reveal.
So, in other words, law enforcement has given no indication whatsoever that they are looking at your client as a potential criminal defendant.
They've pretty much been silent and haven't said one way or the other.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, for a lot of people who are looking at your client, making assumptions about what he may or may not have done, what is the message that you want out there?
Just what I keep repeating, that if you get to know Kevin, he is an incredibly decent guy. He's been a great father. He's provided for this entire family, even during his absence. He's made sure that they had financial means to provide for whatever they needed. He's never been a violent person. He's never severely disciplined his children, and especially not in a physical way. And he's working hard to do what he can to restore his reputation after it's been destroyed and damaged, and he's getting raked over the coals by all of this, when in fact he himself was to some degree.
Do you want to pause a second, Mandy?
Absolutely, yeah. Really?
He's
a victim. He's a victim.
He may very well have provided financially. He may very well have done all of these things that you say he's he's done. But he also
That doesn't make him
failed
not.
to act.
Yeah, that, right.
Yeah, there are inactions as well as his actions. It's one thing to focus on his actions. Yes, he did this, he did this, he did that. But certainly what I'm looking at, from my perspective, is the stuff that he didn't do. And does that outweigh the stuff that he did? In my opinion, no.
He failed his children.
Yeah, exactly.
There it is. He failed his children. He absolutely neglected them at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he didn't abuse them, but he definitely neglected them. Maybe he did abuse them. Nobody really knows, but
it's quite
him
possible.
and them.
Yeah.
Right. He definitely neglected at the very least.
Psychological and mental manipulations that were perpetrated against him and his family by Jody. He's just trying to restore some normalcy in his life and make sure that he can, as was his goal all along, to keep this family together and make sure that they thrive and that they recover from this abuse.
All right, Randy Kester, thank you so much for taking the time. We really do appreciate it.
Well, nice to meet you guys, and thanks for letting us have an outlet to kind of get his side of the
Sure,
story.
Randy Kester.
All right, everybody, that's all we have for you.
Really? Oh,
I'll tell you what that reminds me of, having listened to that. And it's absolutely right. His lawyer's doing a great job. I can't really fault that. But this does remind me of the Nuremberg trials. The number of people. I was just following orders. I was doing what was right for the war. I was doing right by my government, by my people, etc., etc. It still doesn't excuse, the things that you do or that you don't do.
right.
Yeah, same principle applies here. It might be on a much smaller scale, but he and the mother and even the therapist, they were the adults there. They should have acted like it. And those kids were far more adult, especially the 12-year-old.
Absolutely.
The 12-year-old did more for that family than all three of those adults combined, just in one.
And I keep thinking about what he said too, that he felt like it was his fault.
Mm-hmm.
That he was at fault for it. And that takes more than a year to embed in a child's mind that it's all his fault. Mm-hmm. No, Erica, they're not. They're with the state.
Best thing that could happen to them. Yeah.
It is.
There are some times that I won't agree that, I will say, well, look, actually staying with the family is the best option for children. But in cases like this, no, absolutely not. They need to be with the state. I've got 2 videos. One where Ruby talks about her 6-year-old going hungry, as well as her children not being entitled to privacy. And I've got one where she defends herself against the allegations and does a pretty poor job of giving advice on how to put out a child who's on fire. So do we want to watch those?
Fire. Oh boy.
Yeah. Let's watch the first one first. That makes no sense.
First one first? Yeah, let's do that.
The first one that's on my screen.
Okay, we're starting with the first one, guys.
I think that's the one, yes. All right. These do have ads in them. I apologize, I can't do anything about that, but these are from the
Ask
from
for
the
your
mail.
freaking email. I'll add you to my thing.
But at least I can full screen this, so that's okay. That's better than nothing. All right, let's get some ads going, shall we?
Oh, it's pretty at least.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious to see what this is about.
I
Is
just
that
got
it?
a text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? This happens quite often when you're raising children, because
We showed this last time, goofball.
her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch.
Do you believe
It
this?
would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch. But I responded and just said, Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me
She's 6.
pack a lunch.
No.
So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. And hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
I just want to go back and
Hopefully.
listen to it again.
Hopefully.
She needs to go hungry.
Pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. And hopefully.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just going to pause there a second. No, the natural outcome is you take your daughter some food.
Hopefully. Hopefully nobody takes her food or gives her food.
Now, my lovely wife, who may be watching this, if you are, hello, darling. She's a teacher's aide. There is no way in hell that she would put up with this crap. If you don't feed your kid, she will damn well feed your kid for you. And then she'll call you in and rip your head off.
I could see her doing that.
Mm-hmm. And so could I. And actually, I would pay good money to watch that. That would be funny.
Hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
My bedroom was taken away for 7 months.
Oh yeah, here we go.
There,
she's laughing. Look at that.
I think our viewers know that. You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
7 months.
Sleeping on a beanbag.
Yeah, she doesn't think that her viewers know that.
She thought that was funny.
That's what. Yeah, she doesn't want them to know that.
She laughed.
Yeah, she continued.
Belly
to
laughed.
Smile. Mm-hmm.
And they gave my room back like 2
She thinks it's hilarious.
I'll give you the reason why I lost my bedroom. I think so. I think this is the reason. At least this is the reason that's in my head. It's pretty funny, but now that I look back, I mean, it's pretty depressing.
No, we never told our viewers
that I woke Russell up at 2 in the morning and told him that we're going to Disneyland and he has to pack. And he got up and made his bed all neatly and then packed.
See, she still thinks it's funny.
And then he walked out the door and I'm like, Russell, he's like, what? And he's all happy. Has his sunglasses on.
Do you think it's funny? Because
and then I walk out.
If you think it's funny, then that was 7 months ago. Maybe you need longer without a bedroom.
It was not.
No. In this home, you don't get personal space because this is my space because I'm the parent. If you want your own personal space, you'll need to get your own space. This is mine. And as long as you're living in my home, it is my job to know everything about you. You don't get to sneak. You don't get to hide. You don't get to have secrets. Not in my house. Do you see how loving that is? Now, if you're in distortion, you're reeling right now. If you're in distortion, you're ready to pull your hair out right now. You're ready to scream. So think about how that.
Wow.
Well, I guess I'm in distortion.
Yeah, she does sources. She has a very punchable face. Very.
And that's the sort of thing that see, I promised I was going to be a good boy during these streams and not like swear and curse and all the rest of it. But just imagine right now, just imagine for a moment, if you will.
Oh no.
That I am ripping into her right now. Just imagine that in your heads right now. Just imagine all of the nasty, psychologically disturbed things I'm saying to her right now. Because I am.
I know you are. And we appreciate them.
Mandy has seen my
mean, nasty, evil side.
Yeah.
Let's just go with that.
She's seen me curse people out. One of them actually was Erica's brother.
Yes, it's quite funny actually.
It is quite funny, but at the time it even
I've seen him cuss him out G-rated, R-rated, and X-rated.
Mm-hmm.
All of which are funny.
All right, let's. I just want to preface this by saying the advice that you're about to hear in terms of putting out a child who is on fire, don't do that.
Do the opposite of what she's saying.
Because it will kill the child.
God.
I will actually correct her advice after this particular scene.
Okay.
Because unlike her, I know what I'm talking about. Another ad, by the way. Oh, it's the same one.
Same ad, yay! It's kind of beautiful. I would like to go to wherever that is.
This is what love sounds like. When you see someone hurting, you acknowledge the hurt. If your kid came to you on fire, would you say, I'm so glad you trusted me to tell me you're on fire? But if I put out the fire, that's going to really hurt and you're going to end up with scabs anyway. So I'm just going to love you where you are right now. No, you throw them on the ground and you start rolling them. You get a blanket and you start hitting the flames. And they're going to say, you're hurting me. You're beating me. You're controlling. It's like, no, dear, hold still. I'm getting the fire out. That's what a loving parent does. Because nobody will do it. It looks to the world crazy. And because they've never been loved before, it looks like I'm angry. To them, it looks like I'm controlling. It looks like I'm militant. It looks like I'm a monster. It looks like I'm mean. It looks like
smother
I'm
a fire.
full of hate. It looks like I'm not accepting it because they don't know what love looks like or sounds like.
She looks evil. She looks evil. Does she not? Erica said, what in the world? I love Erica in the chat.
Ruby and everybody else watching this, listen to me right now very carefully. Your child is not a grass fire. You don't beat it to put it out. If you grab hold of a blanket or anything and you start trying to beat those flames, it's just going to spread them. It's going to fan them. All right. Stop, drop, roll, wrap in a blanket. Smother the fire, as Mandy said.
Yeah.
I mean, just that one made me laugh earlier because I'm just like, how stupid does this woman actually? Well, how stupid is this woman? Because, I mean, I know I'm kind of picking on the fire, but you know, it's the only thing I can pick on without losing my mind completely. Just no.
You said just no. Yeah, now you're going to spend Thanksgiving alone in jail for the rest of your miserable life. Yep.
I hope she does because you know the things that she's done to those children have messed them up for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And it's tragic that if some of them, children who are abused, they tend to go one of two ways on average. They will either continue the pattern of abuse and become abusers themselves, which I hope to God does not happen. Or they will grow up thinking, well, you know what? I was treated like that as a child. There's no way in hell that I'm going to ever treat anyone like that. Ooh, we have music.
Sorry, it was my alarm. Sorry.
So, do you have anything you want to add to that? Add on after that, Mandy?
No,
I'm brain fried right now.
No,
my brain has caught fire.
I grew up in and out of the system, and some of the homes were fantastic, and some of them were abusive. And I learned a lot about the system, and the system can be a horrible place, but it's better than being with those parents because I don't think, deserve or need to be with either one. But that's my opinion. It's definitely not a legal opinion. It's just mine. I don't think they need to be with Kevin or Ruby.
Rajara's spot on.
Yeah.
Sadly, the other option is they will always find themselves an abuse victim because they've never known anything else and they think it's normal. And
Rajara, you are so correct on that. And that follows them into their love life as well. It really does.
A lot of the people that I work with, I'm not going to say exactly what it is on stream, but a lot of them find themselves in that position as well. And it's heartbreaking, really is.
Absolutely. Thank you, Maddie. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. It was a great stream. They go to court mid-October, the end of next week. We need to do an update if you want after they go to court. They go to court on the same day. I think I have down the 20th. Yeah, they go to court on the 20th.
Okay. Well, we can find something else to do next week, and then we can do the update then once they've. Hopefully, we'll have something to some kind of. I want to see the courts just come down like a ton of bricks on them, and
me too. And hopefully we'll hear something from the older children a little bit more in detail by then. I'm hoping that they'll come out and speak a little bit more. Maybe by then a little bit more time will pass and they'll feel more comfortable. If they don't, though, I can't blame them.
I know that the one daughter has attended court. That video that you were looking at earlier where they were coming out of court, that was the father and I think it's the eldest daughter.
Yeah. And
leaving court.
Yeah, and they have spoke, but nothing is coming out about their conversation, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, it might just be that the courts are trying to keep it as much under wraps as they can to,
Yeah, but she's an adult, so why? It's just interesting.
Prejudice, maybe. It could prejudice the case if it...
That's true, too. Good
too
point.
much about it, because at the end of the day, they'll have to select a jury from, I don't suppose, the local area. They might go outside of the area, you never know, but that's what they tend to do with quite high profile cases. But yeah. Anyway, who knows? I'm sure we'll have some updates at some point in the very near future. Next week we will probably do something else for a bit of a change. I'm sure between the two of us we can think up something to have
good.
a discussion session about.
By then, Chile goes to court again, and so does DMA. So I'm sure there's some stuff we can go through. Y'all all have a good day. Thank you for having me, Mark. I really appreciate it.
No worries. It's been fun, but it's also
it's a lot.
It messes with my head. Just
mine too.
Going through that stuff. But anyway, thank you very much for coming, everybody. Don't forget to check out Mandy's channel. There's also well, actually, I don't think the links in the description work now, do they? I think, did YouTube stop doing? Oh no, there is actually a link. It does work. If you want to join the speak English, if you want to join the Discord and join in the discussions there is a section on the Discord where you're able to do that. The link is in the description below. That's okay for the next 7 days. If you're watching after that on the replay, you won't be able to use that link, but you can always ask me for another link. It's fine. Apart from that, sub to Miss Mandy if you're not subbed already. Her link is also in the description, and we shall catch you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.